Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Growing Up with Godzilla. This is my show where I have conversations with Godzilla fans about how they've grown with the character and franchise over time. We are on the latter third of season three, which is still giving me an existential crisis, but time flies, right? And I've had some familiar faces returning, I've had some new faces returning, and this phenomenal person I've wanted to have on the show for quite some time. And we've connected at G Fest a number of times. I think we connected through Kaiju Kim, if memory serves me correctly, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I would like to welcome on the ever so wonderful Valerie Gothic. Hello.
Hi.
It's great to have you here. How are things going?
I'm doing all right considering some things, but yeah, I'm pretty good.
That's good though. That's good. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm still kind of coming down from the high of G Fest because this year was surprisingly fun. Not surprisingly, I've had fun at prior ones, but this one was fun, and it was really cool that we got to hang out quite a bit at G Fest this year too.
Yeah,
How was G Fest for you?
it was great. On Saturday and Sunday, I went to Chinatown for the first time, so that was kind of great. But
Oh,
I know that was like outside the convention, but Thursday and Friday were also great.
no,
At,
there's nothing
in
wrong
the
with it being
evening.
outside of the convention, though. Like, I think it's a good opportunity to do some sightseeing around Chicago, right?
Yeah,
One of my favorite memories, and we were just talking about this in the background, one of my favorite memories is we got to see Godzilla Final Wars together.
yeah.
And I was going on and on about how it was my first time at the Pickwick, and Valerie, you bared with me the entire time because I was just like, woo. So no, it was wonderful, and I had a lot of fun. Have you seen films at the Pickwick Theater before this?
Yes, I have. Also, you had to deal with me with my commentary over the movie too, so
No, I enjoyed your commentary. Your commentary was great because we
yeah.
were we were enjoying the good parts, but then we were like commenting on some of the problematic things. We were like, "Oh wow, that's a like that didn't age well." Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of misogyny in that film, and I'm just like, "Ooh," but I still love it.
Yeah. Like most things.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I think my first Pickwick experience was maybe King of the Monsters in 2019.
Ooh, what was that like? Was it like?
It was
I mean,
awesome.
I
Yeah.
imagine like the people were like super energized.
Oh no, yeah, definitely they were. So was I.
So I think we met at G Fest. Was it in 2022? I think it was in 2022. Uh
I believe
if I
so.
think so. But I originally, just for some backstory lore on how Valerie and I got connected, like I mentioned in the intro, we were connected through Kaiju Kim because obviously Kaiju Kim has her own unique community, and we were able to just like I enjoyed your commentary in live stream comments and things like that, and I was just like, this is you're one of my people. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like this, I need to get to know this phenomenal human being. So then this year we actually got to, I mean, we got to go see the film. We got to hang around G Fest a little bit. And then, I mean, we got to have lunch. It was fun. I genuinely enjoyed it. So
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
I'm glad. That's what makes G
Yeah.
Fest enjoyable, though. Like you really get to connect with people, and I don't really think that. I mean, we're so connected online that we don't really understand or fathom like the gravity of it when we actually meet and connect in person. So that's, I guess, one reason I really value the convention life. Not, I act like I go to conventions every other day. I don't.
Yeah. No, I wish I could, but yeah.
Obviously, we're here to really deep dive into everyone's history as a Godzilla fan, right? So, obviously, I'm very curious about yours. How were you first introduced to Godzilla?
As first into dinosaurs, that's like I think that's how most people found out about Godzilla. through like dinosaurs and stuff. There is I don't remember if I saw a movie first or if it was like I saw a figure first. I remember my first figure. It was the Bandai Creation 1968 Godzilla. I also remember getting it in Kmart. So
Okay,
there's a.
Mart.
See, I'm old too. So
Kmart was my first job. Ooh, it was
I also
rough.
remember seeing like GMK and Blockbuster. So
Those are the memories we live for, though, right?
yeah, yeah.
So you're uncertain of which your first film was, or was
Um,
GMK your first film?
it's either between GMK 98 and Tokyo SOS are one of those are
Ooh.
the three not,
Mm-hmm.
I probably watched the first time, but I'm gonna say it was probably 98. So
98.
yeah.
Yeah. As much as people tend to really hate 98, like, it was responsible for really reinvigorating the Godzilla franchise at that time. I mean,
Hmm.
case in point, Toho would not have been like, let's make the Millennium era, had the success of that film not been um, significant, right?
Yeah.
I think that may have been my first Godzilla film to see in theaters ever, if memory serves me correctly. I remember I was in like third grade and I made my parents take me to see it like 5 times. And I remember getting a little Godzilla lunchbox. I had a lunchbox. It was great. But no. I think those are a good set of selections for first Godzilla films, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Were you like in the elementary school, middle school around when this happened?
I was like 5 or 7 maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. So I mean, that's a pretty standard age I've seen people like get into Godzilla, right? So
Hmm.
as you got older though, like spanning into teenage years, into adulthood, like how did your love of Godzilla and the franchise shift, grow, or wane, or
It did grow, I guess. But I also got bullied for it a lot, even up until high school when I,
oh,
even though I like didn't really talk about it like after 8th grade that much, I was still like kind of bullied for it. But yeah, I do remember seeing 2014 in theaters and how that was awesome. I think I was like 11. Yeah, because I'm 21 now, so yeah.
hmm, yeah. I'm sorry that you were bullied for
That's
it.
fine. It's
Well,
whatever.
yeah, I mean, I think it's an experience that I think quite a few guys will love. I mean, I was bullied for it at one point. It was very strange. Like in elementary school, like everybody, like they weren't Godzilla fans, but they were intrigued by Godzilla because, dinosaur, right? So they were like, let's play Godzilla. I don't know what I'm doing, but here we go. But then middle school came around and that was like the turning point where like people, I don't know what was going on, but people started being like, Godzilla's stupid. Like, you like that? What? And then
Yeah.
of course saying other really problematic things. I eventually just kind of kept it to myself, but now I'm kind of looking back on that. Now that Godzilla has really, especially with -1, has kind of broken through like
Hmm.
that pop cultural, I don't know, threshold more so than he already had. I think that it's poetic. It's
Yeah.
poetic.
Yeah.
Like, all you bullies who bullied us for loving Godzilla for being campy, two people in suits fighting. Godzilla -1 just won an Oscar
Yeah.
for best visual effects. So,
I
if
don't
I could go
even
back in
care about
time,
Oscars that much or whatever. It's just like, okay, cool. But like, yeah, suck it.
yeah, like I don't really care about like the establishment awards or anything, but
Hmm.
like the fact that Godzilla got that much exposure, I'm kind of just like, like you people thought that it was just this irrelevant thing, but here we are at the bougie Oscars, you know.
Yeah.
now into adulthood, like how has it shifted for you? Like your relationship with being a Godzilla fan, so on and so forth.
I don't know, just like more relaxed, I guess I would say.
We're capable of enjoying it now without like the pressure of people being shitty.
Yeah, well, there's still shitty people, but you know, whatever.
Well, yeah, they're still shitty people, but I think now we're at the point where now we have the wherewithal and capability to clap back at those people. Like I know to this day, if I ever have anybody, especially if anybody comes at me for loving Mothra, rest their soul gently in the doldrums of the planet because I will eviscerate them. Well, I guess over the years, now that you've seen a number of Godzilla films, like which ones have really stood out as your favorites and why?
Hedora, 84, Violante,
Oh, yes.
um, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and King of the Monsters 2019.
Ooh, that's a very diverse selection. So what makes you choose those ones specifically?
Mostly because, like, the first four of them, they all have, like, a dark tone, and I really like that about movies. Yeah, Hedora fucking, is, like, silly at times, but that shit's dark. The kid, he sees a guy turn into a skeleton, man. They put a cat in sludge. The hell? That's dark
Like,
as fuck.
oh my God, you're like, so I watched that film for the first time probably a couple months ago in like 10 years. And I was just like, I watched this as a 7-year old. Like, is this why
Yeah,
I'm in therapy right now? Like, is this, like,
I'm
it
not,
was,
so
well, I desperately needed it. So,
I'm sorry.
no, it's a, the dejected, I'm sorry, that was so funny. Um, but no, like I like it kind of is a little like it has moments where like you were saying it's very camp, but then it goes like 1000% with darkness in the span of
Mhm.
like a scene, and I'm just like the level of mental whiplash that I experienced as a kid watching that film. I think the one scene that also really traumatized me, well, I don't want to say traumatized me, but shocked me. There we go. Maybe shock is a better word. Shock value would be the scene where Hedora essentially craps on Godzilla. like,
Yeah. Oh,
like
there's
just,
also they throw the baby in that shit too.
oh my god, right? Like,
It,
it's just like we're the all the ideas were out on the table for that film,
yeah,
and they
and
just did it.
that's another thing I like about it or love about it is like how unique it is. It's just like I don't know. I love it so much.
I mean, aesthetically speaking, I mean, if you compare it to like the other films in the Showa era, like it is such a distinct contrast. I mean, like with its environmental message, with
Hmm.
the diverse art forms and imagery that is like interwoven within the film, like the opening credits, for example, like the random animated moments that transition into like live action. I thought that was very unique and ahead of its time. And I know that at the time, not a lot of people were fans of it, but I would argue that since, people have really warmed up to that quite a bit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for King of the Monsters, is just like, big budget Godzilla Hollywood movie. Um, just, yeah, like how a lot of people say it's just a Hollywood budget show a movie. Or, yeah. And I saw that in the theater with my friends and we loved it and they weren't even like fans of Godzilla, so.
I do think the MonsterVerse is really accessible for people, which is good, right?
Hmm.
Whereas like there are other Godzilla films, like I would argue potentially Shin Godzilla might be an example of this, where like it's very unique to the socio-political situation at the time in Japan. So like maybe now it would not be as accessible to people, but I think the MonsterVerse did allow for that accessibility because it's just mayhem, beautiful mayhem.
Yeah.
Do I think the MonsterVerse is perfect? No, but I do like that it contrasts well with other iconic films like Minus One, right? For
Hmm.
example.
Yeah.
So, so you also mentioned Against Mechagodzilla. So, I mean, would that film comparatively be as dark as the other ones you mentioned, or what
I
about that
mean,
film really draws you to
they
it?
bring back Godzilla from the dead with like making him a cyborg. So like,
This is true. That
yeah.
is kind of dark. That is
I
that
don't,
is kind of dark now that I think about it.
yeah. And then 84 and Biollante are just like, I think like they're the perfect like duology
Mm-hmm.
um of movies. And when I say 84, the Return of Godzilla 84, not the dumb American 85 cut. That
Oh,
shit's
right.
stupid. Especially when they make the Soviet guy evil for no reason other because he's Soviet.
Yeah, that like the Americanized version really takes a lot of
And
unnecessary
like they
creative
try to make it
liberty.
a comedy too. It's like why?
Yeah, they sucked the seriousness, like the late Cold War narratives, out of the original version. I know, like I watched the original version of The Return of Godzilla for the first time like 4 or 5 years ago, and I
Hmm.
was pretty mind blown. I was like, wow, the Americanized version really eviscerates the
Yeah,
entire
and
thing.
I also 84 was also playing at the Pickwick um on Thursday, and I saw that, and I didn't see it for the first time, but it was the first time in the theater, so that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, so that's it's been what, 40 years since that film came out, which is kind of
Yeah.
wild to think about. My goodness. So, going back to Against Mechagodzilla, like I also thought of an like I don't know why I did not think about this, but obviously Kiru, that was pretty dark. Like the whole creation story, humanity's
Mhm.
hubris, right? But
Yeah.
the backstory of Sarah, the little girl,
Oh, yeah, that too.
like oh, her mom died in childbirth, and they had or
Like,
something to that effect,
damn.
and I'm just like, I feel like so many moms are dying in Godzilla films. Like, what are we doing to moms? Like,
Yeah.
we need to rein it in.
Let's see, there's the mom from the original film, um, and her 2 daughters.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then, who else?
Trying to think of other ones. I feel like
Ichiro's
there's more.
mom, I guess, but, like,
Yeah.
she's just being overworked, but still. Emma Russell gets blown up
Oh,
by fucking Godzilla.
right. Yep.
The worst death of all.
Yeah. That was wild.
I Yeah, there's probably a bunch more.
Yeah, it's just I at some point I want to do like a video essay on like
The orphans of Godzilla.
the orphans of Godzilla because I feel like that is such a huge thing that goes under this. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Now I'm getting tangenty. But over the years, have there been any particular kaiju or human characters that you've been drawn to, and why?
Yeah, there's a few. For human characters, I like Namikawa, Katsura, Akane, and Yuri from GMK.
Oh, Yuri.
Yeah.
All of them are icons. What
Hmm.
draws you to those characters specifically?
Just like, the basic strong femme characters and whatnot. Also, like, I just like their outfits mostly.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
So those characters really do stand out. I feel like in the Millennium series we get more conscious characters that have like a significant role and influence. That's why I'm also drawn to Yuri and Akane. I also love Tsujimori from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. I will speak that film's praises till the end of time, even though I know it's not perfect, but there are still some like shards of gold in that film, let's just say.
Hmm.
But Miki Sagusa, of course, I will forever love her until the end of time. But how about the kaiju? Like, which monsters really are you drawn to and why?
Okay. So it's kind of a long list, I guess.
Love it.
Um, Hedorah, Biolante, Evolved Godzilla, Monster X, Baragon, Kiryu, Destroya, and Pulgasari.
Ooh, Pulgas. I've not heard anybody reference Pulgasari yet.
Well,
So
I'm the
what
person to
what
do it, so.
so what about Pulgasari like made you add it to the list?
The representation of the proletariat working class.
Perfect.
But that's literally what he is. That's literally what he
Hmm.
is in the movie, if you've seen
Hmm.
it.
I actually have not seen it, but I've read
It's
about
on
it.
YouTube for free.
Oh, well then I'm gonna add that to my watch list because I desperately need to watch that. I'm
You
kind
do,
of
it's
behind on
awesome.
I'm behind on that film. I've had several people trying to get me to watch like a Common Rider. I've not watched that yet. I don't know if you've watched Common Rider, have you?
I've seen Shin Kamen Rider, and that was pretty good, so.
Well,
But I haven't seen the show.
I need to get my poop in a group and actually do some homework and watch those things, don't
We
I?
can watch it together if
Sure,
you
that would be
want, yeah.
great. So here's an interesting question. This is the big question.
Mhm.
Okay. How would you argue Godzilla has shaped you into who you are today?
So, some of the, like, themes, I guess, that, like, stuck with me for, like, from the movies, um, like, their messaging, like, most the ones I listed, like you said, have environmentalist message. Pulgasari, of course, has the, anti-capitalist messaging it has. So, just, like, those kind of themes and, like, also the dark tones and stuff, like, making me, like, explore goth imagery, I guess, and stuff.
Ooh. Oh, I could do a deep dive on the goth imagery from
Because
Godzilla. I mean,
I
go
do
ahead.
have Monster X on here, and Destroya, and those are, like, kind of, like, dark designs, I guess.
They're much more, I mean, especially Destroya, very grotesque,
Yeah.
right? I think that's also why I kind of gravitated to Biolante so much. Biolante is very much kind of like this very grotesque figure, right? But no,
Mhm.
like, I think that that's very interesting. Like, I think there's a lot of anti-capitalist messaging in Godzilla films. A lot of it circulated around. I mean, if we look at the Showa series, like a lot of like corrupt people in power who are wanting to like manipulate people or the system to make
Yeah.
money. Like I'm thinking like Nelson from Mothra and like those very corrupt business people in Mothra versus Godzilla. That company in Godzilla versus Mothra 92 who is like just
Mhm.
destroying the environment because it makes them money and stealing the cosmos because it makes them like doing anything they can
Mhm.
to make themselves money. So I like there's a lot of narrative in that I think really speaks loudly to how that level of kind of like assembly line corruption can just lead to complete destruction. So that could be another video essay.
Yeah, for sure. And then, also, I for my favorite kaiju, I picked Baragon because he's just a puppy.
Baragon is so cute. Like
Yeah.
I cannot get over how cute Baragon is. Like to the point where like when I watched GMK for the first time, I felt bad. I was just like, you
Mhm.
poor thing. You are just a puppy wandering about the wilderness, being bullied by this giant other thing. Like,
Mhm.
no, I think we could tie that anti-capitalist messaging and like those dark undertones in the films that you talk about with, like I mentioned, like humanity's hubris, right? Like that hubris of like, oh, we're powerful, we have control, we can manipulate nature to our desire, so let's try and do that. And of course the big takeaway is, well, here is how humanity is epically failing at thinking that they're playing God.
Yeah.
That's why I love Biolante so much in the Kiru duology, because I feel like those are definitely the themes in, I mean, obviously humanity learns its lesson and they're like, we'll do better. Do they do better? That's, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
But I think that makes it super dynamic, and I think it really plunges Godzilla into like that mysticism, like of life and death. What is sacred about life and death, etc. Which is kind of gothy too when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So when I was in high school, I was obsessed with Batra. When I was in high school, I was very much like late high school, very much goth. So like I like Batra became like my icon because I was like, this is the gothy Mothra. Like I love Mothra still, don't get me wrong, but like Batra, I used to
Mhm.
call Gothra. Cringe, I know. Um, but I was just
So,
like we all need an evil doppelganger of ourselves, right?
yeah.
So I guess branching on talking about collecting, like how far does your love of collecting go? Do you do a lot of collecting?
I used to when I was younger. Now not so much because I realized that in a capitalist society, everything is expensive and shit. So, you know, can't really buy everything. Um, but mostly I think I mostly just buy my stuff at G Fest now. Um,
Yeah.
there's a few things I might like buy here and there, but yeah, it's mostly just at G Fest now, I think.
Hmm. Are there any particular like runs or collections that you're really drawn to, like specific
Um,
types of figures?
just for me, it's just like the Bandai figures. And also, when NECA was doing them, I really loved those ones.
Mm,
I know Haya is doing those, but I want to get like the Evolved Godzilla. It's like $50, and
right?
also like it's like I think you have to pre-order it, and then I don't know. I don't know why pre-orders exist. It's stupid, but
Pre-orders are kind of exhausting, honestly.
yeah. It's like, no, just let me buy the damn thing when it releases, okay?
Right.
Jesus. Yeah.
So one thing that for me collecting wise, like I don't collect as much as I used to anymore either. And for me, like I only will collect things that like absolutely they have to basically punch me in the face with how awesome they are. Like
Yeah.
that blanket I got at G Fest,
Mhm.
obsessed. So I don't like collect like a lot of like traditional figures anymore. For me, it's like plushes, blankets. I think I saw someone post that there is a Mothra inner tube. And I'm like, do I need a Mothra inner tube?
Do you have a pool?
I don't. I don't, but I sometimes will go to like a lake or, like, so I could feasibly use it once a year. I need to rein
Yeah.
myself in.
Yeah. Oh.
No, but for me, the cost also becomes a factor. Like, I don't really do a lot of figure collecting because of that cost. I've been really hesitantly wanting to branch into getting those cute little Safubis, but those are like asininely expensive. And I'm just like, nope. Donny, like, listen to your voice of reason. Do not do that.
I
One,
need a Pulgasari figure badly. I know like that one company who did like Yangri is making it, but like they're doing it through like the Kickstarter thing, and I think it's like why? I don't know. I'm just, and it's not even the like traditional colors either. I'm like, okay,
it kind of begs the question, is it even worth it in that case,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. So I do have one final question for you from Godzilla fan to Godzilla fan, right? So
yes.
do you have any advice for Godzilla fans who may be completely new to the franchise?
Don't listen to haters. Just have fun, but also be careful who you surround yourself with. There's a lot of weirdos and crazy people, I guess, and people who like have no idea what they're talking about, and like, yeah,
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. I think so. As obviously as Godzilla fans, like the more you involve yourself in the community, you kind of quickly realize that like everybody has their own motivations and so on and so forth. And I know that especially like the conversations that I typically have where I'm talking about like the franchise identity, like how we kind of find it as an escape, and how each group of people takes something different away from the franchise. Like some people get really uncomfortable with that conversation, and then they kind of quickly reveal like that they are kind of a problematic person, and it's like, oh well, learning
yeah,
experience. I
yeah,
think as LGBTQ plus Godzilla fans, especially, we quickly learn who are safe, what places are safe, etc. And I think, I mean, it's a difficult learning experience because I think it often happens at our expense. But
yeah, and then everyone's against you when you say like, um, war crimes are bad, or like,
mhm, right,
you don't love America or whatever, or like, or you call out Japan for their shit. It's like,
yeah.
okay, dude, what?
Well, and what frustrates me in those types of situations is that those people who get upset don't realize that the Godzilla franchise has always been very much anti-war, anti-war crimes, like in so many different films, but I feel like
Yeah,
people gloss over that, unfortunately.
yeah,
But maybe that means it'd be ideal if they rewatched it, the franchise from beginning, to
yeah,
really kind of absorb that messaging and be like, okay, like this is a central root to what makes Godzilla Godzilla. So,
hmm,
no. But ultimately, I think once you find like the spaces and people who are safe, like it gets a bit better. I know for me over the years it's gotten a lot better. I mean, I still have some moments where like somebody gets super uncomfortable over me being like, I'm a homo, love Godzilla, I'm Mothra, blah blah blah. But once I kind of just like realized like that I don't need those type of people in my life and that I can choose what people I surround myself with, it gets so much easier. And I think that that could just be a very universal message for any place on the internet that involves community building. At least that's just my opinion. So,
yeah,
yeah. Valerie, it's been such a good conversation. And I really think that when we look at the Godzilla franchise as a means of creating these commentaries, like community, looking at like that darker imagery, what that kind of manifests in terms of like themes and messaging. I think that that just helps us determine and realize that Godzilla is super versatile. That's been like the theme of the season. Godzilla's versatile, right?
yeah.
I think that
I
that really.
mentioned Evolve Godzilla is one of my fucking favorites, and like the only thing dark is that about that is like you stole a bitch's house or something, and
Oh,
also and also uh, Godzilla's trans now, so fuck you.
oh, I love Pink Godzilla, and I think that the
I
whole
have
fresh.
I have her back there.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of my favorite things that ever happened on the internet was the level of upset people got over Pink Godzilla, and I'm just like, are we really that mad? Are we
Yes.
are we really investing that much energy in being that mad over Godzilla's color palette? So, where can people find your stuff, Valerie?
You can find me on Instagram at Valerie Gothic. My Twitter is Valerie Gothic 54. My TikTok is Valerie underscore Gothic. And also twitch.tv/ Valerie Gothic, where I stream sometimes. I do also have uh, my most recent VOD uploaded on my YouTube page, which is just Valerie Gothic. So,
And everyone, I will make sure that those links are in the description section of this video so you can go subscribe to Valerie's content. So, Valerie, you're wonderful. Thank you for allowing me to badger you with all of my questions. And I look forward to having you on again in the future.
yeah, of course. Thank you.
Everyone, don't forget to do the use, click like, subscribe, comment. And don't forget that Growing Up with Godzilla premieres on the first and third Sunday of every month. And last but not least, keep standing tall, everyone. Bye.